If you're an empath who's always surrounded by people in crisis, if chaos seems to follow you wherever you go, if your relationships are always intense, dramatic, and emotionally exhausting, I need to tell you something that may be a little bit uncomfortable to hear. There's an addiction that empaths can develop. And chances are it's destroying your frequency, it's blocking your manifestations, and it's keeping you stuck in a low vibration. And look, no one really wants to talk about this because it challenges the idea that empaths are just pure, selfless, and altruistic. But really, you have to be brave enough to look at this. If you are ready for the truth, this could be that thing that finally sets you free from this pattern of constantly magnetizing these things to you. So, let me ask, what if you're not just attracting chaos? What if there's a part of you that's actually a little bit addicted to it? I know this sounds absolutely nuts, but let's just be honest for a second. If you look at your life, your relationships, your friendships, even your family dynamics, is there quite a lot of drama? Is there always somebody in crisis? Is there always an emergency that needs your attention? Most empaths would say that's just how it is. I attract people who need help. It's just my nature. But I want you to consider something else. What if it's not just that you're attracting chaos, but on some level actually seeking it? Here's how this addiction works. Other people's chaos feels more manageable than your own inner work, your own inner stories. It's easier to focus on their problems than to face your own pain. So being needed then becomes your identity. You're the helper, you're the healer, you're the one who saves people. And when there's no crisis to manage, you then feel anxious, rudderless, purposeless, kind of empty. And unconsciously, so I don't think any of us necessarily seek this out consciously, but unconsciously, you are trying to find that chaos. You surround yourself with people who tend to stay in crisis. The chaotic relationships just tend to be something that you magnetize to because, or you take on clients, you take on friends that are constantly in drama because it feels familiar and it mirrors potentially the environment that you grew up in, which is where you first developed your really strong empathic capacity in the first place. And because you're always busy with everyone else's emergencies or everyone else's drama, you don't actually have to sit with yourself in your own feelings and, be with some intensity inside your own self. And this is just the dark side of being an empath that not many people talk about. You're not just a compassionate person who attracts people in need. You're using other people's chaos as kind of a drug to avoid your own feelings. And this addiction keeps you in a low frequency. So this stops you from being able to manifest more easily and, connect with your highest potential and highest path. This addiction blocks your higher frequency, and this matters so much more beyond just personal growth. Your frequency, your vibration, it determines what you attract in your life. So your higher frequency self will attract more abundance, more flow in love, more opportunities, more miracles, more purpose work. And lower frequencies will connect with similar experiences that are on the same bandwidth. So that attracts struggle and chaos, scarcity and drama. And when you're addicted to other people's chaos, guess what? You live in a low frequency and then you begin to keep on connecting into that dynamic, and it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of drama everywhere. You're constantly in crisis mode. Your nervous system is always activated. You're swimming in other people's fear and anxiety and drama, and you won't be able to raise your frequency when you're addicted to the chaos because that chaos is a lower frequency. And this is probably why your manifestations aren't flowing super well. and why you feel stuck and why abundance feels out of reach. Not because you're not doing enough spiritual practices, but because you're using your empath nature to stay in a low frequency, in that low frequency chaos, instead of doing your own high frequency inner work, which involves you being with the discomfort that you may find within yourself. And here's a little bit of an uncomfortable part, because I love this kind of like connecting into the reality of this situation that really shifts things. There's a part of you that probably needs people to stay broken, so you stay needed. I don't even like to say it, but it's true. There's often a part of empaths that prefer other people's chaos and to the discomfort of sitting with their own feelings. And there's probably a part of you that uses your empath nature as armor to protect you from the vulnerability of actually facing yourself. And I say none of this to shame you or shame anybody. I'm saying this because once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and you can actually change it. But you have to be willing to look at this shadow side of your gift as an empath. So how do you know if you're using your empath nature to avoid yourself? How do you know if you're addicted to this chaos? I want you to ask yourself these questions and answer them really honestly. Do you know more about your friends' inner lives than your own inner life? Can you name what your friends need, but struggle to know what you need? Are all of your relationships intense and dramatic? Do you feel bored or anxious when things are calm and stable? Are you always helping someone through a crisis? Is your identity wrapped up in being the rescuer, the healer, the helper? Do you feel uncomfortable when you have alone time with nothing to distract you? And when you sit in silence, does anxiety or sadness come up that you usually avoid? If you answered yes to most of these, you're likely using other people's chaos to avoid your own emotional work, and it's keeping you stuck in a lower frequency and vibration. So how do you break free? How do you stop using your empath nature to avoid yourself, to avoid that inner work? First, you have to turn your empath capacities inward. Before you tune into somebody else, check in with yourself. Ask, what am I feeling right now? What do I need right now? Am I grounded in my body before entering into their field and into their body vehicle space? Second, notice when you're using other people's emotions to avoid your own. Do you jump to help when you're uncomfortable with silence? Do you fill your calendar with support sessions or connection time when you should probably be doing your own inner work? Are you more comfortable in their chaos than in your own stillness? When you catch yourself doing this, just take a beat and ask, what would I have to feel if I wasn't busy with their crisis right now? That uncomfortable feeling that comes up, that's what you're avoiding. That's the work. Next, create space for your own emotional work. Get a therapist, get a coach or a guide. Journal. Spend some time where you cannot rescue anyone. Practice sitting with your discomfort instead of fixing theirs. Let yourself feel what you've been avoiding. Practice sitting with your discomfort instead of fixing theirs. And let yourself release the density of what it is that you've been avoiding. Let yourself feel those things. And this is how you will raise your frequency inadvertently. It will, just like a cork bobbing in the ocean, as soon as you let yourself feel these sensations, you will rise naturally to a higher frequency band. And it's not going to happen by managing other people's chaos all the time. It's going to happen when you look at the things that need to be looked at that you've been avoiding. When you really dive into this work and you do it properly, you stop attracting people who constantly need rescuing. This is not about never having hard times or challenges in friendships. Of course, you're there for people as and when they need, as should they be there for you as well. But you start to connect with and attract mutually healthy connection. And in, say, the work that you do and in your career, you're going to begin to charge what you're worth. You pursue your dreams. You take up more space unapologetically. And health-wise, you hear your body's signals more. You prioritize your rest. Your energy begins to come back into your body, and you're not constantly on edge and with your nervous system drained. And as I mentioned earlier, your frequency naturally rises. You're no longer vibrating at the level of chaos. You're vibrating at alignment. You're vibrating at more coherence. And this is when miracles happen. This is when the beautiful flow begins to kick in. Honestly, I really do believe that one of the most radical things an empath can do is turn their empathic capacity towards themselves first. This is not selfish. This is how you access a higher frequency. This is how you become more magnetic. This is how you manifest the life you actually want. And this is how you help people the most, by tending to yourself first and then being able to assist others in the most beautiful, non-martyred, non-resentment filled way, and help them to shift their lives and no longer be in this space of constantly having to tend to people. They actually end up shifting themselves just in your presence, because you're no longer available for that chaos and for drama. People in your life have no choice but to align with that. And I really, really feel like this is something key that empaths truly need to embody and embrace. Your empath nature is a gift, but it can also become your hiding place. If you're always surrounded by chaos, always needed, always helping, please ask yourself, what am I avoiding in myself by staying so busy with everyone else? This addiction to chaos is keeping you in a lower frequency. But once you see it, you can choose differently. Turn your empath nature inward. Go and feel your feelings. Do that work. Face your shadows. Stop using other people's chaos as a drug to numb yourself, and watch how much your vibration, your frequency increases. Watch how your own life transforms, and watch how miracles start to show up. And the same will happen for those around you as well. If this felt a little bit uncomfortable, I would love for you to tell me in the comments. Be honest with me. Do you use other people's chaos to avoid your own feelings? There is no judgment. This is just about creating awareness, because your awareness is that first step to freedom. Please make sure you're subscribed for more truth about what it really takes to thrive in this world as an empath, and I will see you in the next video. Sending love. Need to make sure my hair looks okay. God, it's long. Okay.